Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America.
There you go. There's no amount of communism. There's no amount of gender bending. There's no amount of trans athletes. There's no amount of marijuana smoke. What else? What do conservatives usually hate? There's not a single liberal abortions. There's not a single libtard doing enough abortions to be more dangerous than Tucker Carlson.
Demagogue. I know, that's wild.
So
right?
what is it? What's Tucker Carlson saying? We're gonna have to look into that. But first, let's let Mr. Cruz finish his idea here.
And I will tell you, it is spreading in particular among young people.
That's true.
And I resolved last year that I am going to do everything humanly possible to defeat this poison. I believe this is truly an existential threat. Why is that? Because anti-Semitism is the gateway drug to anti-capitalism and anti-Americanism.
He's a logical fellow.
And you don't like money, then you don't like America. I mean, that's what he said.
Which even it's funny, even if it's so funny because it exposes what he's really saying. Because if we're talking about an anti-Semite, there's no reason to assume, Henry Ford was a massive anti-Semite. He was not anti-capitalist. He was not anti-American. So really, he's admitting that he's not talking about that. He's talking about if you are anti-Zionist, if you have a goal to say something about Palestine, then chances are you don't care about money enough to keep your damn mouth shut. So you're anti-capitalist. And if we can't control you with money, then you're anti-American.
Yeah, exactly. Then you won't work in America because that's what we use is money to make sure you're on the right track.
That's same. Amen, brother.
The Green-Red Alliance with Comrade Mondami in New York City. Where the Islamists and communists...
Is he saying Comrade Mondami like because he's a socialist?
Yeah, basically.
So ridiculous.
He doesn't mean it literally like my comrade in international worker solidarity.
That's so ridiculous. To me, it's just like the icing on the cake of what America has become. That when a man said, hey, millionaires make too much money, wouldn't it be nice if we just give some of that money that they're not even using to give to some poor people who could really benefit from it? You're a comrade.
And you can see the Green-Red Alliance with Comrade Mondami in New York City, where the Islamists and communists come together because they both hate the same people, and spoiler alert, those people is us.
I thought you were going to say...
Tucker Carlson has said there's nobody on planet Earth he hates more than Christian Zionists. And he named in particular, the two people he hates most on planet Earth are me and Mike Huckabee. And you know what? I wear his scorn with pride.
Very interesting.
Wear his scorn with pride.
Here, let's hear Ted Cruz talk about being Israel's #1 defender.
Intention of being the leading Congress, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate. Right. And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, there are folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC...
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies...
Okay, so here, he said it already. He wants to be the #1 defender of Israel. So let's see a little bit more of that.
AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's suggested it was a strange thing that I said a minute ago, that when I came into
So here Ted's responding to Tucker had called him out saying, well, it's pretty strange that your goal when you entered Congress 13 years ago was to be the #1 defender of a foreign country. And so here he addresses that.
Right, so, and let's get into Iran momentarily, but you suggested it was a strange thing that I said a minute ago, that when I came into the Senate, I resolved that I was going to be the leading defender of Israel. And what you didn't ask is why. So let me tell you why.
No, you said I was obsessed with Israel, and you had just told me that like your driving motive to get to the Senate was to defend Israel. I'm like, I don't think I'm the one who's obsessed with Israel.
Okay,
I don't even think about Israel.
Tucker, words matter. And you know that. I said I resolved to be the leading defender of Israel, and you said your driving motive, the reason you're in the Senate.
You want to be the leading defender of Israel. I would think if I ran for Senate, I'd be like, there are people dying of drug ODs on the street.
My driving motive is to fight for Texas and America, and to fight for jobs, and to fight for the Constitution. And you...
There you go. It only takes 50 minutes to get that statement out of him, but unless pressed, he won't even say that. Okay, so because here we're talking about people who... This becomes this defining line in the sand. And somehow, well, not somehow, in a pretty obvious way, this is directly tied to Jeffrey Epstein, right? And the same sort of hard line, we will not budge, that the Epstein class had when it came to releasing the files. And one of the early victims of Christian Zionism was Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she was essentially just left on the chopping block by Trump. And I saw recently she was on Piers Morgan, so maybe we can see what she's saying for everything that's happened since. Oh, look, it starts. That's funny. Right at the very beginning, the first name she says is Tucker Carlson. Let's see what she says.
People like me and Tucker Carlson, we're saying, oh, no. We're done voting for you and supporting you. We are sick and tired of you because you're liars. Don't go out and give your tough talks on Fox News with a bunch of propaganda BS and throw the red meat garbage.
If Trump's serious about this, he's not walking away.
Well, there you go.
Action music in the background.
What'd you say? Yeah, well, they have to retain. They want to retain people. But, I mean, that says a lot right there. I mean, let's...
Welcome back to Uncensored, Marjorie.
Let's see some more.
Hi, Piers. Thanks for having me.
What the hell is going on? We've got MAGA people saying we're not going to vote Republican. We've got people on the left migrating to the Republicans. It feels to me like the whole American political system and people's voting intentions has just been tossed up in the air. And it feels, honestly, quite chaotic.
Well, I'm sure it does feel that way. But for most regular Americans, they've begun to really see through Washington. For example, we are totally and completely fed up with funding foreign wars and regime change and having to basically our military to be used to benefit other countries. But there's other very important issues.
That's always something that all the people who are jaded by Christian Zionists, they're always very clear. They're like, listen, we don't support wars that are bad, but if you gave us a good war, I mean, shit, we'd be down for that. They always want to make it very clear that this is just about...
a fair argument.
Sure, I mean, I guess it's consistent. And as she's pointing out, one of the things that is just completely off about Christian Zionism is the complete lack of consistency. There's nothing that they can't bring forward a consistent message because there is nothing there.
There's one consistent message that's biblical. That is a consistent thing that you can say that is what is something that you can say, well, this is why we support Israel.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so and then from there, let's watch some of that interview, because Tucker and Ted Cruz, before they had their break, discussed exactly that, which is, well, if the Bible mentions Israel and it says that bless Israel to be blessed, curse Israel to be cursed, isn't that pretty straightforward?
Yeah.
Let's see them discuss that point.
And you played a very, very careful word game of eliding
the one who said it.
Okay.
That was the vibe of this whole interview.
He's like, you're tricking me right now. He's like, what? I'm just saying what you said.
I'm just not politely ignoring your lies.
Isn't that kind of hilarious?
Double speak.
It's like you're playing word games with me. What's this Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd sort of mind games you're playing with me? He's like, I'm just repeating what you said.
Exactly.
Well, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective,
so here he's responding to exactly what we were just saying. Like, he give us an argument for why defending Israel is consistent with a Christian worldview.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the.
It's in Genesis, but so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology. I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker,
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Hey, where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what, hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding?
Can I feel like here, this is where Tucker is just using his audience is left out in the cold on certain issues, but he has conditioned them to sort of understand like that a government is not a religious entity ever, right? So there's no blessing a government. A government is a collection of sinful people. And whatever the Bible is referencing as Israel, you probably just have to think about it a little harder. God doesn't make it always all that obvious. And when you look at the genocidal apartheid nature of Israel, that should be a pretty big clue that that's not the Israel God's mentioning.
I would agree. I was trying, like, I can't even play devil's advocate too much in this because, like, I really don't believe God would support Israel in the genocide of millions of people. And I really, it's sad, really. It's really sad. And it's even more sad because people are now giving God a bad name because now they're like, well, this is why I don't believe in God and this is why I'm not Christian because of stuff like this, where you're using the Bible to support the massive killing of children. I mean, children are dying. I mean, how can you look at that and use the Bible to defend yourself? How evil of a person do you have to be? And especially, I would have given Ted Cruz the benefit of the doubt, like maybe of a matter of ignorance, if he wasn't so see-through in the fact that he's getting so much money from the Israeli people and from like Jewish people to help help support his own campaign. Like right. It's so see-through that it's about money, and it's sad. Really, it's sad that children are dying because of this. And I mean, it's crazy.
And it all stems. Ted Cruz was saying that they need to nip Tucker Carlson in the bud right now because it's gonna snowball into something more and more extreme. The reality is that was televangelism, right? Like in the 80s and 90s when people were scamming people using God and using, a false version of Christianity, that was quite literally the groundwork of what would become the Christian Zionist movement, right? And It's always been about what you're talking about. What's at the heart of it always? Money, And
it sucks because it just shows how much authority the Bible has and how when evil people get influence from it, they can, we even saw the other day, doesn't Trump have his own Bible? Isn't that on one of our notes as well?
Yes.
The Trump Bible
we're
signed
gonna get into that. We'll get into Trump. Yeah, Trump also has his own scam Bible because he's so indoctrinated now into this sort of like prosperity gospel, these notions of like, you can rob the people in your ministry and then just tell them, oh, well, that's what God wants.
Yeah.
That's the same logic that they use with Israel, right? You rob them of their what they have morally, and you just say, well, it's what God said.
Exactly. And it's this, for me, the saddest parts is definitely, like I said, is children are getting like fucking bombed. But also on top of that is that there's a lot of innocent people who look to God and they look to these leaders to lead them in the right way. And for them, it's like it's not like from bad intention. It's more like maybe fear of the Lord or respect of God, and they're saying, "Oh, well, I just want to obey God." And now you have these evil people who have so much influence, telling you, "Hey, if you don't bless Israel, then you're not American, and you don't like America." And Ted Cruz, what's his name? Tucker Carlson is this evil anti-Semite who hates America, he's an enemy, and innocent people are falling for it.
When this came out, I watched the whole interview just because you can't ignore the dynamic, and the writing was on the wall that this relationship between the Carlson style, moral Christians and the Christian Zionists, it was clearly not going to be able to last. And maybe we could just watch a little bit more. Let's see.
This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel. Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions.
And then there you go. I mean, literally, we started with a tangent about Tucker's audience knows the difference between a government and a religious idea. But then what does Ted Cruz sort of rely on? Well, he relies on that his audience and that his voters aren't that nuanced. That Israel is Israel, right? I mean, that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
About.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And by the way, it's not run by Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator. It's a democratic country that elected.
He's the prime minister.
Right.
What?
Okay, so that just continues to happen throughout the entire interview. And I'd recommend, if you have time, you can go back and watch this. We might react to this more thoroughly at some point. But
I would love to see more of it, because honestly, it's pretty funny.
Maybe we can do the Mike Huckabee one then, because that one I haven't seen at all, and we could just watch the whole thing at some point and just react to it.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Mike there and there.
Oh yeah, and then so with all that said, now that we've sort of dived into the actual argumentation, the rationality, we saw what Ted Cruz had to say about Tucker. He's labeled him the most dangerous demagogue in America. Let's go back to that response that Tucker had to something similar that Sean Hannity had said.
With John Fetterman, who's very liberal on everything except Israel, and who knows even what liberal means now. But he's on the other side of every other issue except Israel, which for reasons either of cognitive impairment or campaign donations, he's decided is the only issue that matters.
It's both.
And they're looking right into the camera and telling you, any criticism of Israel is just Jew hate. And it means
any criticism of Israel is Jew hate.
Jew hate, exactly.
Jew hate.
And if you hate Jews, then you hate money and you hate America.
Yeah, you gotta keep looking in the camera and explain all that.
Exactly.
Not American. This is the kind of clip that will be preserved in the Museum of
Okay, all right.
Let me ask this. Why the deep hatred for Israel? Why?
Yeah, because I mean, if you have such contempt for Israel, I mean, of course, you're also anti-American and you're anti-Western civilian.
Oh, where have I heard this before?
All right. Exactly. How do they come to that conclusion to me? It's like,
you know how?
baffling.
They get a little one sheet of how do you defend your genocidal apartheid country today, and then there's a one sheet that says how you do it with little argument points, and then there's a check for $3 million. And they go, oh, okay, I can make this work.
You know, right? Say these were bonus if you add anti-capitalism in there.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is Fetterman and Ted Cruz both agree that if you're anti-Israel, then you're anti-America.
But okay, so before you play it, do you think, like, because I try to be a man of the people, do you think from a logical perspective, in order for them to make that connection at all, it has to be because of this biblical idea that to bless Israel and America is a Christian conservative nation?
I mean, does Fetterman even make that type of argument? Like, let's see what he says next.
Yeah, true. Let's see what he says.
The civilization and you're, seeing anti-capitalism and the American way of life.
There it is, the bonus.
You have such contempt for Israel. I mean, of course, you're also anti-American and you're anti-Western civilization, and you're, seeing.
Yeah, he's pro-Western civilians, but that's it.
But then what else does he have to say? I'm just really curious to know what his logic is.
I don't think that Fetterman has ever really but I don't know. I mean, with someone like him, I give Ted Cruz some credit for having a silver tongue. It actually is quite funny to see him so the ideas are so bankrupt, like on their face, so dead on arrival that there's not much that he can do except just put makeup on a cadaver. But with Fetterman, it's like, does he have any coherent point about? Okay, well, here's him talking to Barry Weiss. Part of my base. Let's see what he says here.
Senator, thank you for joining us. Stephen A., what do you have for the senator?
Was there a dress code?
No, sir. No, sir. We don't play that here. Not at your size.
Okay, yeah.
Two-part question. Number one, when the hell is the shutdown going to end?
Why is Stephen A. Smith there? What the fuck?
This is life now. And then how about that? Like, he knows that his role is to just be Stephen. It's not like, hello, sir. It's like, number one, when are the Knicks gonna get Karl Anthony Towns off the bench? And number two, what's your plan for abortion? And it's like, okay.
Ridiculous. Is he that iconic that are like, we'll put him on this political debate right now?
Yeah, it really is more just like he's such a good talking head, and they're looking for absolutely anyone. It's actually so fucking funny that he's here right now, because I was just watching a clip of him on Hannity, and I thought it's funny because at some point Hannity is like, because you got these communists, you got these, they want free buses, they want free school, and this is what they're gonna do, and it's like, at the same time, as we just saw, like, it's not even about that. Like, he loves Fetterman, he loves a socialist country in Israel, so it just all rings so hollow. But then you still have Stephen A. Smith on the other side, right? That still helps. So when Hannity's saying all his crap that's like more stale than it's ever been, you still have Stephen A. Smith. Here it seems like Bill O'Reilly's asking him why he's a Democrat. You want to see that?
On all three of those issues.
Well, I mean, a lot of the things that maybe I really believe in calling balls and strikes.
Oh,
you
yeah.
want to follow the truths. And
why aren't you an independent then?
Well, I mean, those are some independent thoughts, but overall, I mean, you have to pick one side, Republican,
Why?
Democrat. That's always been my party. And Bill, let me just say, it's like I'm the only Democrat in my family. I grew up in a conservative part of Pennsylvania, and I grew up and I know and I love people that voted.
He grew up a multimillionaire, right? Became the mayor of Braddock on a $54,000 salary from his parents. And then he used all of that to chase innocent joggers, black people who were jogging. At least one that we know of.
That we know of, exactly.
So
he didn't know he was black, apparently.
So, I guess, to answer your question, this little side quest that we're on, which is how does Fetterman come to this conclusion? I think he told you there, right? I mean, he calls balls and strikes, and he likes to follow the truth. So he just must be a complete idiot, right? I mean, he's just a complete moron, and he always has been, going back to when he was a little baby. If you think about it, isn't that kind of the answer?
Conclusion.
He's a fool. His parents helped him they sustained his foolery all the way to the point of becoming the mayor of some tiny town. And then somehow he leveraged that into the Senate. I mean, why would this guy have anything less than a 7-year-old's composition?
So, but again, so you think it's really just like he has like this baby mentality, and in reality, he's just so controlled by like money that he's not even like a person.
I don't even know if it's money, because this is the type of guy who's always had money and kind of rejects money. He's definitely controlled by, validation.
By like a narcissist.
Yeah, and we talked, unfortunately we didn't get a chance to record it, but we talked last time a little bit about, could a narcissist turn his back on his party? And, my take was that yes, of course, because the party is always going to actually ask things of you. But once you're a senator, if you want to just carve out a little hole of influence where you have 3 or 4, sycophants who make you feel very special and they arrange the right interviews like this one, that is a much better path to just live in your bubble of superiority. There will always be people who are like well-educated, who just want to be contrarian, who just want to take the position that allows them to be casted as the truth teller. You know, as Fetterman is making it seem here. He's the only truth teller left in the Democrats. I mean, he gets to go talk to Sean Hannity, like we saw with the Tucker clip, and do this little powwow as if like they're the two arbiters of what's decent in our society.
So you're saying they're the contrarians in a sense that they're defending something that's so morally terrible and making it seem like it's truth.
I think he is just a contrarian, which is why he did this sort of like populist economic bad boy image for as long as that was relevant. But now, if you really want to be contrarian, you have to be pro-Israel. So that's where Fetterman is.
So you think that's his main drive, is that he's this contrarian rogue rebel sort that's like, I just want to play that. I want to play that villain sort of role.
Yes. I don't at this point. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, who really knows? But he seems like a simple man.
For me, it's a curiosity. For me, it's a curiosity thing. Like for me, it's just like a.
Do you not believe that some people just are very simple and lost?
That's what I was going to come to the conclusion of it. This is just a guy that never really matured and never really developed, and now he's just so completely engulfed in the system that, you know, he's doing interviews with Stephen A. Smith saying how he calls balls and strikes.
Yeah. You know, well, here, you know, we're going to continue to do a lot of reviewing the data, but also you got to trust your instinct, you know, because the whole world is set up to make your instinct all topsy-turvy. And it's important to just start reclaiming ownership of when you see a man like this, it's pretty obvious what's going on with him.
Well, I mean, those are some independent thoughts, but overall, I mean, you have to pick one side, Republican,
Why?
Democrat. That's always been my party. And Bill, let me just say, it's like voted for President Trump, but they are not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution and those things. And that's part of another thing. I refuse to call people Nazis or fascists, or I would never compare anybody to Hitler and those things. And
you know, that's also very, very telling, because that part is logically consistent. You know, Chuck Schumer does not have a leg to stand on when he's calling Trump a fascist, because he is perfectly aligned with Israel and their fascist intent in Palestine. So I actually got to give Fetterman credit there, which is you look, and this is always what a contrarian relies on, is you look around and you see a bunch of hypocrites. So you're like, I can make any batshit crazy point I want, because then I can just point it back to, well, you're a hypocrite. What do you know? You know?
Yeah. Not a terrible argument.
It's a good one. It's consistent. He's saying, I wouldn't call anyone a Nazi. You could, you know, stab a Palestinian with a bayonet in front of me. I would not call you a Nazi. Right? That's what he's saying. And I actually find that very consistent. He's just saying there's nothing that no one can ever do that I'd say is Nazi. So, of course, I support Israel.
You find that consistent in what sense?
In that, unlike Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries, who will call Trump a fascist but then support Israel, this is just, you know, an honest take on how the world works, you know?
So he's sort of like, oh, the bygones be bygones sort of thing.
No, that like, if I'm going to ignore the atrocities of the Israelis, then I can't call Trump a fascist. That makes no sense. You know, like that I think is true. You know, and you know, he definitely revels in that, because that's a place where he's right. You know, there's a moral hypocrisy with basically every Democrat, and then they try to make you afraid about Trump or make you afraid about elections. You know, and it's like, they're killing people. They're contributing to the deaths of thousands of people.
I see.
So, point for Fetterman. Let's see what else we have here. We definitely have to.
We should end with the Trump saying his number one dream was to be a pope.
I'd like to be pope. That would be my number one choice.
I think that's a good way to end this ridiculous video. And I do want to pose the question to the audience, a genuine question: are we being cynical in our views of these silly Republicans like Ted Cruz? Well, Fetterman's not a Republican, but on these silly political leaders like Ted Cruz, Mike Huckabee, Fetterman, Trump. Are we being cynical? Like, can you truly look at this and all the evidence and everything going on and really say that it's a matter of cynicism, it's a matter of Republican hate, it's a matter of like us being brainwashed? Or is the truth spitting at you in the face and screaming at you in the face of what's going on, and you're just refusing to ignore it?
And I don't think that people will find it cynical, because a lot of people are even more fed up with the system than we are. Because by virtue of that, we're willing to sit down and talk about it and spend like 30 minutes getting all this shit set up. That shows a certain level of belief. And I think a lot of people, I guess, answer your question, but also, is it naive? Like, are we taking a naive approach and actually missing something more more intrinsically important about this whole story when we talk about these figures?
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that idea of, and that's another great question to the audience. Are we missing something more intrinsically important?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a great question.
And as we're on this topic, if anybody wants to call in, as long as you're not crazy and you can have a conversation, we can just message us and we'll work that out. Let's circle back to, we saw Fetterman. He said that the exact same thing that Ted Cruz said, which is that if you're anti-Israel, you're anti-America, and then if you're anti-Israel, then you're anti-capitalism, then you're anti-Western civilian, then you're anti-America. Let's see him pick up from there. Let's see Fetterman pick up from his from that order of operations logic of what being anti-Zionist means.
American way of life.
I mean, it's like so tempting to get literal. Okay, so a socialist country, which is Israel, not attacking him, just saying, founded by socialists on socialist principles. It's not a free market country. It's run by the government and the military. It's like the opposite of a free market country. It's a pretty successful country, for a bunch of reasons. But if you don't support Israel, you're against capitalism. And you're against America. Is there any other foreign nation to which this applies? If you don't support Moldova, if you don't support Estonia, you don't support Guinea-Bissau, you don't like America. Where are you in Namibia? Countries like equal in relative significance globally. Like they're not really players. Israel's not really a player, except to the extent that we imbue it with value because our politicians have been lobbied by them. But like inherently,
if you don't love Wakanda, then you didn't watch Black Panther. And if you didn't watch Black Panther, then you're anti-capitalist and then you're anti-America.
That I agree with. That makes more sense.
Yeah, that actually does make a lot more sense.
I mean, and do you also not see like the sheer ridiculousness of it, that Israel is a socialist country and then they're going to call Mondani like a comrade when they're supporting a socialist country? Where's the logic?
There is none. It's just about, you see, this is what's being exposed. There really isn't logic. There's end game goals, right? There's things that they want to accomplish. And then in the meanwhile, they just have to say whatever it takes so that they can do what they want to do. I think there's that at least one child every day has died since the ceasefire in Gaza by,
that is so
by way
insane.
of the Israeli army.
That is so crazy.
So they get to just keep doing that. So as we're discussing, this insane logic that they put forward, they just continue doing what they do. So that's not a bug, right? That's a feature of this campaign that they launched. And, give Tucker Carlson credit for how eloquently he can articulate these points. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're lucky in that there is a demographic shift, right? And Tucker plays for this sort of under 35 audience, and they're not having it.
Why do we care about Israel or Guinea-Bissau? We don't. But do you ever hear a politician say, where are you on Guinea-Bissau? Where are you on French Guyana? You got to get on board with French Guyana. Put a French Guyanese flag on your lapel, or you hate America. You're against capitalism. You'd be like, what? You got a head injury, pal? Like, what? Lay off the psilocybin. It's not helping. But says that with a straight face, and then has the gall to say, and this is not an attack on poor Fetterman, who is impaired, or on poor Hannity, who is also impaired.
Pray for them. This is
just a reminder of what reality is. You're an enemy of Western civilization. Okay, now you've roused me from my slumber. I'm an enemy of Western civilization, so you're...
Oh, now they got Tucker started. You don't call him that. You don't say he's an enemy of Western civilization.
Begging the question then, what is Western civilization? Well, it's a lot of things that emanate from Rome, Israel's ancient enemy, but let's just put it succinctly.
He then goes on to make this argument about how being a proponent of Western civilization is tied to the notion of that everyone is equal, right? The notion of like a shared humanity where one life is not worth more than another, and policy and principles are not going to be built without keeping that in mind. And then he just points out how insane it is that he's being accused of not being pro-Western civilization, even though he's just, advocating for a type of humane principle that would see everyone as equal. But of course, they're not talking about that part of Western civilization. They're talking about the making money part at all cost.
So it's, again, like you said, it's so like, I mean, how would you describe, what word would you describe it in a sense of like how he is like truly promoting more Western values? And he's getting attacked for not promoting. Like, what would you, if you could describe all of this sort of circus that's going on, what word would you use to describe all of it?
Like Tucker's role in it?
All of it. Like this idea of like Tucker just calling out all the BS and then the ridiculousness of it all. And this idea that he's anti-Western because he's trying to support more of humanity's side of life compared to like this genocide going on.
It's really strange. I mean, like outside of it, you would strange. I mean, like it's like apocalyptic. It really starts to show that like we are in end times, man. Because this type of stuff can't hold for all that long. Like reality needs to run on certain shared ideas and truths, and it can keep going without those things, but it becomes something more and more alien, and I think that this is what this is just very alien. Like the fact that like, you have Fetterman and Hannity and Stephen A. Smith, and this is like the new coalition of pro-money, pro-Israel, we mean, people, right? And then you have everyone else. And Tucker's trying to make money off of this. He's recognized that this is a moneymaker because there's so many people who want to hear something that resembles the truth. So it's not as if this is an anti-capitalist stance that he's taking. It's just we're in this stage where it's like some of the capitalists have gotten so intense that everyone just kind of has to live their lives in relation to that.
I see. Yeah, that's super weird, and it is strange and weird. I don't even know what to say about it really. Yeah, because it's
so Tucker says Western civilization is about humanity. Ted Cruz says that if you're anti-Israel, then you're anti-capitalist. You know what Trump says?
Wants to be Pope.
Christ.
I said Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
They said, who's more famous? I said, Jesus Christ.
Trump's inner circle.
They asked me who's more famous. I said, Jesus Christ.
All right, now if you go to DonaldTrump.com, you can get my signed Donald Trump Bible for just $20.
Right.
I highlighted my favorite verses in there for you.
So we wanted to end this conversation with some levity.
I'm proud to be partnering with my very good friend Lee Greenwood.
Look at this millennial pause that it starts on.
I'm proud to be partnering with my very good friend Lee Greenwood, who does a lovely song, God Bless the USA.
That's Trump.
In connection with promoting the God Bless the USA Bible. This Bible is the King James Version and also includes our Founding Father documents, yes, the Constitution, which I'm fighting for every single day, very hard, to keep Americans protected. Also, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance are all part of this God Bless the USA Bible, and it's just very important and very important to me. I want to have a lot of people have it. You have to have it for your heart, for your soul. Many of you have never read them and don't know the liberties and rights you have as Americans and how you are being threatened to lose those rights. It's happening all the time. It's a very sad thing that's going on in our country, but we're going to get it turned around. Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country.
Isn't it crazy? At some point, while Kamala Harris was using like 10 different AI supercomputers to try to figure out how to beat this man. He was just like, all right, clear of the afternoon. I'm doing Trump Bibles.
That's so good. That's so hilarious.
I'm doing Theo Von in the morning, and then I got Trump Bible at night. It's like, okay,
And then
bro.
I'll end with a Joe Rogan recap and we'll go to UFC together.
It's just like, he just figured it out. He just figured out how to
I added my own verse in there. If you're anti-Zionist, then you're anti-America and you're anti-capitalism. I would put that last in the very end there.
Trump's careful. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't get caught saying too much like stuff like that. It's more of a stuff that he does, like when he like brought out the chair for Netanyahu and he looks like his little servant boy. Let's just remember though, before we go too down this Christian Zionism rabbit hole, let's remember our fearless leader, Comrade Biden, and his take.
You guys didn't know what Zionist meant. They were like, hey, Biden, just say you're a Zionist. Like, what's that?
No, I can find you clips of him in his like 40s saying it.
Oh, really?
And so I learned a long time ago, you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago you don't have to be Jewish to be Zionist. That's when they gave him his first check. Oh shit. Okay.
Look, when you walk around the White House, you feel the history and the story of our nation. That history and vibrancy.
Can I say we've watched like 40 videos, and of course when Biden is here now, all I can even hear is just like the mic humming.
Jewish life is woven into the fabric of America, every aspect of it.
The magic of Biden.
And it's
that is the magic of Biden. Yeah, he makes you kind of calm down, right? You open your ears and
hearts that are still very heavy.
But yeah, Joe Biden declared you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I guess that's kind of a philosophy that the Christian Zionists follow, if you really think about it.
I'd like to be Pope. That would be my number one choice.